What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about that legendary G4TV Meltdown. Now, this is obviously a day or two old at this point, but I could not resist talking about it. And there's also been stuff that's been kind of surfaced of what she has said in the past, and as well as what Adam Sessler has said in the past. Now, I liked G4 as a kid growing up. I didn't watch too much of it, mainly because I feel like when I started watching it was actually kind of the end. Like, I remember sitting in my living room. I was sitting on the floor. I never really sat on couches, and I remember watching Attack of the Show. I vividly remember watching Attack of the Show, X-Play, stuff like that. But I only did it for a very short period of time, and then the show kind of like disappeared. And at the time, I didn't really know what happened. You know, it was on the TV, and then it wasn't on the TV. So, you know, I guess just to bring you up to speed on my history, like I do like G4. I like Adam Sessler as a personality, as a game reviewer, as, you know, a gaming personality. Like, I do. I like him. Now I don't, based off of the stuff I've seen him say, you know, on his Twitter and stuff. But obviously, G4TV is back. They have the YouTube channel, and they're doing okay. You know, there's obviously other channels out there that have looked at their kind of analytics to see, you know, that they're not doing amazing. You know, this Meltdown was talked about how many employees that they have and how many reviews that they have, and they have to like divide and conquer.
Now, here at X-Play, our reviews are written and produced by a team of people. There are too many games for one person to shoulder the burden. So we divide and conquer. And when we use language like we or I, that's the reviewer. That's coming from the mouth and experience of the reviewer reading that review. And that's not to say that Gerard, TBH, Adam, or myself don't contribute to the reviews. We absolutely do.
I think they kind of missed the point that what people seem to be going for, specifically now online, is kind of independent, like single person forces. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a small business, you can't have 3, 4, 5, 6 people, you know, in general running this kind of war room that is your YouTube channel, but for them to, you know, really just, I guess, gloat in the fact that they have all of these producers and just all of these writers. And of course, much like IGN, much like GameSpot, much like all this, they don't do their own reviews. Somebody writes them, and then they read them sometimes. And then, or I guess for other pieces, sometimes one person reads half and the other person reads half. Like, they don't even, so they don't write their own stuff, which is normal. I mean, you look at IGN, very, very often they have, well, they always have, like, the narrator, the person who reads the reviews, and sometimes that's the same person that writes it, but very rarely. Most times it's actually a completely different writer. So what happens is you're having somebody talk, and I get it. I mean, I get it from like I don't know, like it just, maybe they're a better speaker. They can, like, I don't know, like the way they talk. I mean, I'm not the greatest speaker of all time, as you can tell, but I think you lose a lot of that you to the viewer kind of thing, because it's not actually you. You're firstly, just on the surface level, you're reading somebody else's work, right? So you have, and that's something that I don't think many other channels that have talked about this situation have gone into, where I like, that is a gloat from them, and I don't really see that as a gloat. You know, these huge production, you know, 30, 40 people teams that put together this stuff, and then, I don't know, somebody like Angry Joe can make a better review than you, and he has him and 2 other people. Like, are you gonna gloat about that? Or, you know, I don't really know what you're trying to do. Skill Up is, I really like his reviews. I really like him just as a person, and it's just one guy. So, like, where's the, like, why are you so special? You have 30 people, and yet your content is worse. Now, I'm not saying, like, I'm so much better, but I'm also one person. I think we have a different kind of connection than what G4 ever could have, because you know it's me throughout the entire thing. It's not, you know what I mean? And I'll make it clear if it's not me. So you have that. Then you have, obviously, the rant. Now, the rant has been talked about. I want to pick a couple different things from it. Number one, the idea that she said at the end, even about, like, gatekeeping.
Or that I'm somehow less qualified to speak on something, but you can't quite put your finger on why, even though I'm reading the exact same script as Adam, but you have no problem with he's part of it. You're letting your unconscious biases ruin my day, and you're gatekeeping the gaming space.
Very, very funny to me, considering she's literally the, like, she's the one talking. She's on the couch. She runs. I got, you know, like, they take turns, but, you know, she's, like, hosting the show, right? So it's so bad. The gaming industry is so bad in terms of, you know, how they treat women, that, you know, it's gatekeeping them from being in positions, and yet she's right there telling you that. That's always the funniest thing, is when you get told those kind of things, that, you know, we can't do this, we can't do this, and yet they actually do it themselves. So they're just lying. Now, I do want to make it clear, because one of the obviously main focal points of her argument is, you know, she sees the chat and she you know, people objectify her and stuff like that. I am sure there's people that do that. I'm sure. And that's not okay. I don't really see some stuff like that doesn't even really need to be said all that much. They don't have a huge audience, but they do have an audience. And I assume the people that go after her looks or talk about, you know, her as a woman compared to the other women that were on the show, or like comparing her to Adam, right? Stuff like that. Like, that's probably a very, very minuscule amount of people. It really is. Now, and again, I'm not saying that's okay for them to do. They should knock it off. But to have the rants be about them, but then it really wasn't about them. And the biggest thing that completely destroys her argument is when she talks about, you know, is it just exclusive to her? It's around halfway through the video, right?
Adam will read a script written by the same writer that I will read the other half of the script for, but I'll be the one flamed. And yeah, it also happens to Gerard and TBH, but that doesn't discount the sexism of how it happens to me when it does.
And she basically says, like, it happens to me. Now, does it happen to him, and him? Yes, it does. But it doesn't mean that it's not, you know, it doesn't mean that it's not like anti-women, right, when it comes at me. So she basically admits out loud that, yes, they all face criticism. Maybe not equally, but they all face it. So they all go through their own things. You know, maybe somebody said something that truly hurt one of the other people. They don't get up on their soapbox. But because it's her, obviously the people are anti-women, even though everybody else gets hate too. I mean, that alone should destroy her argument. Even for me, now obviously, like, I'm not on the, I think that alone is enough to just be like, all right, that's the stupidest statement I've ever heard in my life. So it happens to you, but you also admit that it happens to everybody else. But then you say, well, because it's me specifically here, you know, you don't like women, obviously. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's so dumb. Even like me, like, oh my God, you think I don't get, and some things get to me a little bit more than others. Sometimes I like to have fun with it, but you know how many people talk about my hair? Do you know how many people talk about my voice? It's not just, again, maybe it does happen slightly more because you're a woman, but I really, really do believe it happens to everybody, A, and B, like, that, I'm not saying like that's the way it is and you should deal with it, because it's not. I mean, you like, that is not okay generally, right? But like, it happens to me too. You know what I mean? People make fun of me, not every video, but every maybe day or two I can check the comments. I'm sure I can find somebody talking about something about me. So it's not exclusive to a girl or a woman. You know what I mean? It's just not. It just flat out isn't. And then you have a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that have come out about her, saying, you know, she doesn't want the 45th president's supporters as her supporters, and, you know, that kind of stuff. That stuff has always very much annoyed me, not because of political affiliation, because generally, and actually, I'm telling you right now, I don't care. And I don't really think anybody, that's just my opinion, but I don't think anybody should care. If you're going to block off, okay, all of these people, whether they're Biden supporters or Trump supporters, whatever, whether you're going, or by the way, some people don't vote. I don't know if she knows that or anybody knows that nowadays. But so if you're going to block off certain people just because of that, aren't you kind of being the person that you're talking to about, you know what I mean? Like gatekeeping, or saying, oh, you guys are anti this or anti that. Aren't you doing the exact same thing by segregating, you know what I mean, like half of the voting population, or, you know, what, you know? So I'm not saying just for one person. It could be for the other person. It could be for people that didn't vote at all, right? Because depending on what election you're in, if you didn't vote, you're also part of the problem, because you're not helping the right side. That just always, I mean, that's just how it is. So the fact that she says that on her Twitter, I hate that kind of stuff. Kind of funny. I really respected them. It's actually one of the reasons I started this channel. I you know, in terms of the talent and Greg's personality and stuff, and I still love Colin Moriarty. They mean a lot to me, but even they did it back. I think it was this past election. They even said, like, you know, if you're not for one person or the other person, you can't, you know, we don't want you as viewers. I just think, number one, just economically, you're cutting off so many people from watching your stuff. You're literally telling all these millions of people, we don't want you. And, like, I want anybody. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care if you didn't vote. I want you watching. Why wouldn't I? And I also think when you're talking about games, G4TV, they literally talk about games. Who's going to Attack of the Show? Who's going to X-Play to hear this stuff, by the way? Nobody, right? You're going there for information. You're going there for their opinions on games. you know, number one, maybe you could just like talk about the games and not go too off track like they just did, and be like, can't you put some of that stuff aside when you do go into that sphere? You know what I mean? When you're talking to your audience, can't you put that kind of stuff aside? And then Adam Sessler, man, I didn't want to know the stuff that he said because I do like him. I have always liked him, and even when the show kind of came back, I respect the guy. I've watched the reviews. I've watched, not recently, not the last like couple days where they've done like 8 reviews. I've watched the reviews. I like him. I like him a lot, and I respect his opinion. But same thing. He literally wished. This isn't funny, but I guess I don't know why I'm laughing. He literally wished for a certain political affiliate. Well, I'll just say it. He wished for his Republican family members to not be around anymore. Which is not quoting it. It's actually much worse than that. He literally said that back in December of 2020. He said, so, oh my God. Like, these people are nuts. And again, like, I know it's going off of one side, right? They're all talking about Republicans or Trump, but it works either way. If somebody was such a Trump supporter and they went after Biden supporters in the same way, it'd be the same thing. Or saying that, you know, if you didn't vote, same thing. Like, why are people like this? Why? Well, like, yeah, you can disagree politically, but are you going to X-play for that? Why are you doing this? So, well, here's the answer. It's all because it's just, you know, identity politics. That's all these people actually care about, is just, you know, they are all gamers, especially like Adam, as we've known for many, many years, right? But I really just think they get so many other things in their head where they want the show to be like something else, or they want very, very, very specific kind of people. They definitely live in an echo chamber. That's all. I mean, the gaming industry is an echo chamber. But let's not forget that even these newer pop-up things, right? So like IGN, Echo, they're all the exact same person. Kotaku, you could swap one for the other and you would never know it because they're the exact same person. You know what I mean? And by that I mean that they think the same, they have to think the same. Otherwise, they're kicked out. As we've seen over and over and over again, if you're not in the clique, you're out. You're blacklisted. Colin is a great example. There's other people that are examples, right? So that's how it works. And I guess I thought, now I wasn't like a diehard G4 fan when they did this relaunch. I really rarely watched them. I did watch some reviews, but I didn't really watch anything else. So I wasn't really even thinking, oh God, I hope that they aren't like everybody else. And turns out they are. They are the exact same person, just all, you know, they're different names and different genders and all that stuff, but they're the exact same person, and they think one way, and if you don't think that way, which is fine, but you're not allowed there. You're not allowed, and that's, it sucks. And basically, even on air, right, saying that, you know, the whole, like, if you don't like it, don't watch it, that's very dumb to say out loud, I would personally say. And then secondly, you have all the behind-the-scenes stuff now that people are digging up, which is fine. I mean, you wrote it. You wrote on Twitter, and it's still there right now, wishing for people to not be around anymore, just saying just bad things about one side, saying that you don't want literally one side there. Again, it'd be the exact same thing if it was the opposite way around. It's just not cool, and it doesn't actually matter when you're talking about freaking video games. These people forget. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion that's outside, you know, I'm not one of those people that say, oh, you're a basketball player, so just play basketball. You're not allowed to talk about politics. But what I will say is when you do stuff like that, to expect people to just nonstop believe you and trust you and and that's the reason why they followed you is not true. You know what I mean? Like Adam Sessler saying this stuff, sure, it'll get likes and stuff, but that's just what Twitter is, right? It'll do that kind of stuff, but it's not helping his gaming reputation. You know what I mean? Because nobody that's watching him for the games cares about that. You can have it both of those things can be true. You know what I mean? You can have those opinions. Now, I wouldn't say those things out loud because that's a little too, but if you want to say something divisive in terms of politics, you have every right. It's free speech. You know what I mean? You can say it. I don't care if you're a sports player or a personality, right? To say like, oh, well, because you're in one industry, you're not allowed to talk about something else. No, obviously you're a person, you can do that. But to expect people to just, you know, go like buy into what you're saying is also very stupid because that's not why you're popular. That's not why people follow you in the first place. Does that make sense? So, yeah, G4TV's done. I mean, it's screwed. It never really, I think, was ever gonna like go. Let me get my line. It was never gonna like just go up. There was not like there was never gonna be that massive ascension where it was gonna like take over the YouTube gaming space. It's there, it exists, it's not that popular. It never really was from the time they started this relaunch to right now, and I can guarantee you that it won't be popular at all from this point on. They screwed themselves over, and they deserve it, just like Kotaku deserves it. Just like these people need to. They need to fail. They need to get destroyed. In the way destroy is, and just people just tune out. They just don't care anymore. And that stuff needs to happen for these people to wake up and say, we do have talent. We do have people that are good here, but either they need to shut up or they need to realize that things aren't just always against them. In this case, right, that it's not just against one person. She literally admitted it's against all of them. So, you know what I mean? Like, they just... I don't know. And just maybe focus on the games, considering you're a gaming channel. If you want to write it on Twitter or whatever, or make a different channel for it, fine. You know, and again, maybe it'll come back to haunt you, you know, because of people see you say something and they go back. But like the thing with this is they said it on Twitter, and you know they bring that into work every day. You know what I mean? Like Adam brings that seemingly hatred for literally half of the political spectrum. He brings that to work every single day. That's, you know what I mean? And maybe it isn't said every day, but he thinks it. If an audience member or a community, you know, on a chat or whatever says, hey, I voted for blank, is that okay? He'd say, F you, get lost. I mean, that's what these people, that's what Kind of Funny did. That's what really got me mad about them. Somebody literally said, hey, I voted for Trump back in 2016. I'm a fan of his, but I love you guys. I'm a fan of you. Can I, you know, am I still welcome here? And they literally said, no, you're not welcome here. Like, what kind of a-hole thing is that? You know what I mean? That's awful. That's truly, you never hear me say that for literally anybody. So that's just the way it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. All my social media is in the description below if you guys want to check it out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.